This video is proudly sponsored by GT85. Today we're going to be looking at some of my best kept secret roads that surround London. I grew up in Paddington, which is right in the centre of the city, and I spent much of my younger adult life escaping the city looking for great driving roads. And I hope that this particular video inspires some of you that might live in or around the city to do the same, because there are a few hidden gems. Each one of these routes are no more than an hour away from the M25, which is the big motorway that circulates London. So it's going to be very accessible. I'm also going to throw in some coffee and food stops for each individual route. I'm clearly taking the M3 touring, just an excuse to put some miles on it before the run-in service gets done very, very soon. So let's not waste any more time, jump in the car and head to route number 1. The first road I'm going to show you is a real treat. It starts in this beautiful village of Great Chisel. Great Chisel is about 40 minutes north of the top of the M25. Remember, no more than 30 through the village. Once you leave it, well, the fun begins. This is a 6-mile stretch that takes roughly 10 minutes in each direction. And then of course, like all the roads I'm going to show you, you can turn around and come back the other way because it's very different going in the opposite direction. So straight away, as soon as you leave Great Chisel and we're heading towards Saffron Walden, you come into some really nice twisty sections. What I would say about this particular road, which is the B1039, is in the winter months it does get very slimy and very slippery, so just be cautious. It is a national speed limit road the whole way, which means you can, by law, go up to 60 miles an hour. But trust me, there's very few places, even if you're really pushing on, that you could reach 60 miles an hour. And a lot of it's blind, so just take it easy. There's lots of cyclists here. I've seen the odd horse over the years. So just enjoy it. Enjoy the scenery, enjoy the road. I'm sitting here at 45 miles an hour and I'm having plenty of fun. Coming up to one of my favourite sections here, where we drop down. You'll probably recognise this from a lot of my older videos. I used to film here regularly because I lived about an hour away. I now live about 2 hours away and unfortunately don't get here as much as I should. This is a brilliant section of road that gets very greasy when it's cold and damp. So much fun. Something else I'll talk about this particular road, and because it is a B road, you don't want to go along here in anything too wide. I would say the M3 is about the limit in terms of having fun. Something like a hot hatch, well, that would be even more fun along here. And the last car I think I took down this road, in fact, was that Megane, the crazy one that was worth about 70 grand. And I had so much fun in that car along this road because, as I say, it's mostly 40, 50 mile an hour stuff, very tight and twisty. As we approach Wendens Ambo, which is just before Saffron Walden, it's a good place to turn around and go back in the other direction. Once you've gone under this bridge, which is actually the M11, you're kind of finished because you're back into a 30 zone, but it's definitely worth heading back the other way. Once you've turned around and you're heading back in the other direction, one of the great things about this road and so many good roads out there is it feels completely different. Obviously all of the elevations have now reversed, your scenery is completely different, and this section, which is probably my favourite section, is arguably better going this way up the hill. Really is a lot of fun. Once again, You're not going to be breaking any speed limits up here, that's for sure. Such a brilliant piece of road. Through this left-hander, just watch out, there's a curb on the left here, and if there's a car or a truck coming the other way, you can get awfully close to it. You wouldn't want to curb your wheels on there because it looks a little bit nasty. It's just so much fun. You really feel the elevation going back this direction, and that opens up again here. No idea why I haven't been to this road for the past couple of years, apart from the fact that I have moved further away, because it's just such a blast. It really is loads of fun. And if you do come to this fantastic road and you're a little bit peckish or you fancy a really good coffee, then I can recommend a place called Hot Numbers. It's their roastery. I'll put all the details in the description below. They make some of the best coffees on the planet, and they also make some fantastic pizzas, so it's definitely worth a visit. And they're no more than 10 minutes away from Great Chisel, so once you've done this road a couple of times, you want to head over there. It's just brilliant. And in fact, there's loads of brilliant roads that surround Great Chisel and this area, so I'm sure you could find a good road that would cut you across to Hot Numbers. Well, hopefully you've enjoyed road number 1. Let's go and find road number 2. I always carry a road trip kit in the boot of my car, and that is whether I go on a local road like some of the ones I'm showing you today, or whether I go down to the Alps at the bottom of France. Something like this. It contains everything you need should you get into any kind of trouble, or it's just handy kit to have along the way. Stuff like a tyre pressure gauge, really useful. What else have we got in here? Some snacks. My snacks of choice are mini cheddars and wagon wheels. Other snacks are available. A bottle of water. Always carry water for yourself, and the car might need some water. And in fact, if you're carrying a water, you might as well carry a flask as well. You can keep your water cool in there during the summer months, or you can put coffee in there and take that along with you, which I do both of. Nice one from GT85. Some microfiber towels always come in handy, especially if you've got some quick detail spray or window cleaner. They're always useful. You can never have enough microfibers. Got a little multi-tool here. Has a spoon and a knife and a fork. Very handy. I actually picked that up the Dakar Rally this year, but it's a very nice handy bit of kit to have with you in your boot. One of my best kept secrets, a can of GT85. We're going to go into more detail about what GT85 is useful for, especially on the car, a bit later on, but it's always handy to have a can. A torch or a head torch, again, I got this at the Dakar Rally in January. It's a very handy piece of kit, just in case, especially during the winter months, for whatever reason, you get a puncture, etc. You're waiting out in the pitch black at the side of the road. It's always good to have a torch with you. And the last few bits are cable ties. You can never have enough cable ties, and a reusable coffee and tea mug. Let's go and join me on road number 2. My second suggestion is more of a loop than a singular road, and it starts right here in Ainhoe. You get to Ainhoe along the M40 off the M25 in London. It's about 40 minutes off the western side of the M25. Very easy to get to. Junction 10, which is the Silverstone junction, and then just follow signs to Ainhoe and you'll be here in about 10 minutes. It's a beautiful village, and it's the start of this loop that takes us around to the borders of the Cotswolds and then back to Bicester and junction 9 of the M40 to head back into town. Just on the left here we have Ainhoe House, which is getting heavily developed at the moment and refurbed. Been to a couple of car launches with Audi there over the years. Really nice venue. As you can see, it's a beautiful little village, even with this rather average weather. So we turn down here the B4031 towards Deddington. You join me about 10 minutes later. We've been through Deddington and we're just about to leave Hempton, and as soon as we do, well, this is one of my favourite roads. Great driver's road and beautiful in terms of scenery, amazing views on both sides. You really are driving across the top of essentially a ridgeway, and yeah, it's really, really pleasant. Most of it, at least this section, is a 60 as well, so you can push along and not get in any trouble. It's very undulating, as you're about to see here. Really steep. This must be about 15% gradient. When you get to this fork, we're turning left down the A361. Just be extra careful here because motorcyclists like to use this road, and it's a semi-blind junction, so it's quite hard to see out of. We're only on the A361 for half a mile before we turn left towards Enstone, which is the home of Renault F1, or Alpine F1 as it now is. I think it's the B4022, and this is a brilliant little section of road, really is. Once again, it's a 60, but once you get to the twisty bit, there's no way you're doing 60 through there. You do encounter the odd farm machinery down here, tractors, etc., so just be cautious of that. But as soon as we start dropping down, it becomes really interesting. It's a great section of road, actually. I'm only doing 50 now and it already feels fast enough. Such a beautiful part of the world here, it really is. Almost nudge 60 then. Oh, fantastic bit of road. Even in these conditions. Now, my lunch and fantastic coffee suggestion for this trip is actually quince and clover, which is just down there to the left, in a beautiful little village called Great Chew. But if you are going to go there, which I suggest you do, because honestly the coffee and food is amazing, I reckon you come all the way to the top here and then turn left and head down there, because this section of road is a lot of fun and worth coming along. And also when you drop down into the village, it's more picturesque. So if you swing a left here where it says Soho Farmhouse, which is only a mile down the road there, left and then left again, you will get to Quince and Clover. There's a car park there, or you can park on the actual green itself if it's not too busy, and there's plenty of lovely walks around there. Lou and I go for regular walks there. I would say at least twice or 3 times a month. It's just lovely. But we're going to continue on down this road as it undulates its way through this beautiful countryside. Over there essentially is the Cotswolds. This is like the border right here, so yeah, you couldn't get more picturesque, and it's beautiful on a day like today and weather like today, so you can only imagine what it's like in the middle of the summer. It's a really nice loop, this, and the road on the whole is reasonably wide, so you can take pretty much any car on this loop. There is a small amount of one-way systems in Deddington and a few little bridges that we crossed where there is only enough room for one vehicle, no matter which size it is. But yeah, most of the actual roads themselves are reasonably wide like this one, so if you do come across some oncoming trucks or whatever, tractors, there's plenty of room to play with. Once you get to the end of this road, we do a left towards Bicester on the B4030, and this road essentially takes us all the way into Bicester. It's a good 15 minutes, if not 20 actually, but once again it's a lovely bit of tarmac and a lot of fun in places. There are some villages and 30 zones that we go through, so beware of those, but on the whole it's really nice. The scenery is really good once these trees are cleared, and yeah, it's an enjoyable route. And that takes us back to junction 9 essentially on the M40, so you do a nice big loop. It will take 45 minutes on an average run depending on traffic, etc., but I strongly suggest that you stop and grab yourself a coffee and some food, just like with Route 1 really. I think it's always good to break up a good road trip or journey with a good coffee and some good food. Looks like the weather is clearing a little bit now, so fingers crossed that it's somewhat better when we get to my third and final road, because just like this one, good weather really rewards you on that particular road. As you hopefully already know, I only tend to work with channel partners or sponsors that I have an organic connection with, or products that I really believe in, and GT85 are both of those. Back in the mid to late 90s, I was actually a bicycle mechanic for about 6 years, and aside from the must-have tools like a good set of Allen keys, I always had a can or 3 of GT85 within arm's reach. It really was a can of magic. In fact, I think that's what I used to refer it to back in the day. And I still continue to use GT85 on my bicycles, hopefully a lot more this year because I'm planning on doing a lot more riding. And it's very useful around the house. But you're probably wondering what connection it has to the automotive industry. It's very, very good at cleaning rust and grime off things that have corroded, but it's also very good at preventing that rust and grime returning to whatever it is that you've cleaned. It's safe to use on metals and composites and even carbon fibre, so it's useful on old and modern machinery. And it's brilliant for freeing up or loosening bolts that might be seized, etc. In fact, there's a number of things that you can use GT85 for. So I'd head over to their website using the link below in my description and check out what this single can is useful for. Really is the best kept secret. Let's check out the third and final road. Now join me on my third and last, but definitely not least, GT85 recommended roads, leaving Newbury. In fact, I'm leaving a small little village on the outskirts of Newbury called Donington, and I'm on the B4494 heading towards Wantage. This road starts about 45 minutes away from the western side of the M25 in London. It's basically just out on the M4, and this section of road is about 13 miles long and will take about 20 to 25 minutes. It's mostly made up of 60 limits, but this first section is a 40 limit. Just be careful down here. It's a lovely bit of road, but there's driveways absolutely everywhere. There's a care home, etc. So it is 40 for a reason, but we'll soon hit some national speed limit signs just here. So as we head over this bridge, and now up to 60. But once again, this first bit, there are some driveways around. So just be cautious. Just because it's a 60 limit doesn't mean you can always do 60. But this first section is really fun. It's almost like a roller coaster. Again, it gets a little bit slippery in these damp, wintry conditions, but sometimes that makes it a bit more enjoyable. This is genuinely one of my absolute favourite roads. Once again, I have filmed quite a few videos along it over the years, and you'll see why, because there's so many different sections of it. It's like almost broken into 3 different, very different sections, and the last bit heading into Wantage is one of my favourites. Definitely very scenic, and on a beautiful day it's unreal. So hopefully it'll be nice and clear when we get there. We're approaching the first fun bit. Proper roller coaster through here. A lot of this is very blind, so once again, just be a little cautious, just in case there's pedestrians or horses, slow moving vehicles, cyclists, etc. Coming back up this section is arguably even more fun. This is really steep actually, it probably doesn't look it on camera. A couple of miles later and it all opens up. It's beautiful here, it really is. You've got good visibility, so you can see oncoming traffic or anything ahead that might be slower, so you can definitely sit at 60 through some of this. It's just a really nice, rewarding road. It's not the widest road in the world, but it's definitely not the narrowest road in the world, and I think this section that we're approaching now is where it gets sort of the narrowest, if you like. There's warning signs up there, 10% gradient and narrow, so if you happen to meet a truck or something wide coming up, then you're going to be unlucky in this little section because it is quite narrow, but it only lasts 50 meters and then you're out, and that was good timing. Just you now join me in what I call the forest section, because the majority of it is under trees. There's a nice little technical section coming up here. It's really fun, but once again, when it's wet and slippery, it does get a little bit greasy at times, so just be a little bit cautious. You get some mud on the road from tractors and bigger trucks, etc. But it's a really fun section, and it's totally different to the first section and the wide open section at the end of this road. Coming into this last section, say last 3-4 miles into Wantage, we actually just crossed over into the Oxfordshire border, and unfortunately just up here the 60 limit becomes a 50 limit. And I really struggle to understand why, to be honest. I get speed limits, but this particular one, it's a bit of a shame. The first bit's a little bit twisty, but then it opens up, as you'll see, and there's really no danger. There's no driveways, there's nothing that I can see at least. So it is a pity that it's 50. That's the sort of one downside about this glorious piece of tarmac, because as you can see, as soon as we come around here, just opens up. It's unreal. What a beautiful, beautiful piece of tarmac. Beautiful views, even on a fairly dreary day like today. There's some fantastic walks around here as well. Lots of car parks. One on the right there, one on the left up there. Look at that for a view. Hopefully the GoPro's picking it up. Oh, it's fantastic. It really is. Unreal. So this is a really nice scenic drive. Am I having much fun along here at 50? Probably not, but I've also got this amazing view and stuff to look at. So it is just a beautiful section of road, and I think when you combine it with the first bit of road, or the first two sections that we've talked about, it really does make for a fantastic piece of road and brilliant sort of 20 minutes of driving. And of course, just like the first road, when you get to the end of it, when we get to Wantage, I can turn around and go back the other way, because it is a completely different experience, especially that last section, or the first section that we've just been through. Really is fun going back up through that technical section. And when you do find yourself back in Newbury, the food and coffee place that I can highly recommend is Podium Place. You've probably heard of Podium Place already. They roast their own coffee there, so the coffees are fantastic, the food's really good, and there's lots of exotic cars and stuff to look at. They even have simulators, etc. They've got loads of things going on down there. So once again, I'll link them in the description below, because they're definitely worth checking out, whether you're coming up here for this road or whether you happen to be near Newbury and you like your coffee. But yeah, this is the last bit, and now it's just about stopped raining. But yeah, fantastic bit of road, really, really, really nice. I hope you've enjoyed this best of 3 roads GT85 video. I've certainly enjoyed making it over the past couple of days, and I couldn't have done it without the help of GT85, because 2 days of solid filming in various different locations, etc., does cost a lot of money. I'll never make that back in ad revenue on YouTube. So it's great that GT85 got behind me. Massive thanks to all of you for watching, and I'll see you at another video very, very soon. Cheers.